This is Nathan from RunDreamAchieve.com. Hope you all have a great week and your training is going well and you're healthy. Today's topic, I want to discuss 20-mile run tips. And I was recently asked this question of, how do I get stronger over 32 kilometers? And what are some of the things I really need to be doing in order to sustain that 20-mile pace more efficiently over the long term? And 20 miles, the further you go, the further that you're trying to run and you're trying to race at, the more utilization of fat storage comes into play, and being able to minimize the amount of lactic acid buildup in your body while you're trying to race. More importantly, your ability to clear that lactic acid faster than it's building up. And there is no easy way, there's no easy answer for this. It's high-level anaerobic training that you must do, especially if you're trying to train for a 20-miler or 32 kilometers. That's a long time to run and a long time to really need to, in order for you to stay mentally strong and mentally and physically fit and physically strong throughout that particular run. A lot of 20-miler training is very similar to marathon training, because you're practically running just about 42 kilometers or about 26.2 miles over that particular distance. So in terms of some of the things I would be thinking about, especially trying to run fast over 20 miles, is doing longer intervals on the roads. Some of the types of workouts I did when I was training for the marathon was 4 times 5 kilometers on the roads, and aiming toward around running those 5Ks at around 1545 to 1550 per rep, with about 5 to 7 minutes of recovery between each one of those repetitions. Now again, that was when I was very, very fit. The importance, and I talk about in other videos, of periodization, where you're training the body anaerobically to adapt to a specific stress demand on the body for a specific amount of time. And then once your body is adapted to that, then you start focusing on the next higher intensity, and then working at that higher intensity for 3 to 4 weeks. So those types of workouts, doing longer paced tempo runs, which, if you're training for a 20-mile race or a 32 kilometer race, you do want to be able to sustain tempo effort, or training at your anaerobic threshold for preferably right around 14 to 15 miles. That way you get accustomed to running for a very long period of time at that point where lactic acid starts to build up. And that is tough. I mean, training for a 20-miler is not easy physically, and it's not easy mentally, because you do have to mentally stay relaxed and mentally stay on your game when you're trying to run a 20-miler, whether that's being a long run or training for a 20-miler race. You have to be thinking about those types of things. I do talk a lot about hydration and making sure that you're paying attention to how much fluid intake you're taking in during your long runs, and especially in the race. If it's hot out or it's humid out, you have to really pay attention to those fundamentals, because if you don't, it doesn't matter how physiologically fit you are and how well you've trained. If you neglect those pieces of the puzzle, you're not going to run fast or up to your capability for 32 kilometers or 20 miles. So when I think about 20-miler tips and some of the things that I would share with you, I think about the long runs I did over the years, where you're extending the amount of time on your feet. A lot of times when I was training for the marathon, I would go out as far as 30 miles for my long run. I don't recommend you do that because you don't need to go that far out in distance. I'd run 2:19:35 for the marathon in 2007, and I thought going further than the marathon distance, along with getting my mileage up to, I went up to 142 miles a week, and I only did that 1 week, but I did several weeks in the time that I was training for the marathon heavily, over 140 miles, and I, I'll tell you that again, it's not about volume, it's about the quality of the mileage you're putting in. Well, you know, even when I ran 2:19:35, I ended up running that time off of 85 to 90 miles a week. So higher volume is not necessarily the answer. Whether you're training for a long race like a 20-miler or a marathon, you want to focus on what is the percentage of that weekly volume that you're putting in. Are you training at, near, or far below your goal race pace? So what is it, you know, what type of time are you looking for 20 miles? Are you trying to run 2 hours for 20 miles, you know, hold that 6-minute mile pace? Are you trying to, you know, run 3 hours? Whatever that specific goal pace that you have in mind, you have to practice training at paces that are far, far below 20-miler goal pace. Okay, so getting on the track, developing your speed, focusing on leg turnover, focusing on form, focusing on staying relaxed at very high anaerobic aggressive type efforts is also very important to running a fast 20-miler, because as you know, the relaxed athlete is going to get results, you know, dependent upon the fact if they've done their homework and training, they've you know, really developed their VO2 max, they've trained at their VO2 max level, that maximum oxygen uptake. You know, examples of that are like just repeat 200s on the track where you're running, you know, closer to your 3K to 5K race pace at speeds that are far, far greater and faster than you're planning to run for 20 miles. So it is important to do a combination of VO2 max training, which you should be doing 1 VO2 max workout per week, as well as doing very long tempo runs at preferably, if you're wearing a heart rate monitor, anywhere from 165 beats per minute to around 173 beats per minute. Again, heart rate monitors and heart rate monitor training is very important, but it's also going to be dependent on age. So granted, you know, if you're 30 years old, your heart rate at running an anaerobic threshold effort is going to be different than somebody that's maybe, say, 55 or 60 years old. So do the things that, you know, I always say this all the time, study what the best middle to long distance runners are doing, emulate them, find out how they set up their training, find out what they think, how they think. You know, go back and watch all the videos I've made here on this channel, and you know, there's a lot of information here that's free content. I do have training programs, and I have running courses on RunDreamAchieve.com, resources below all my videos as well. But I also share a lot of information that's free there for you, and that I hope that will help you run faster over 20 miles. Again, 20 miles. You know, whether you're racing that distance or you're just trying to run faster over 32 kilometers, is more of an anaerobic event as opposed to the 800 meter or the 1500 meter event up to the 5K distance, where you're really it's more of an anaerobic type effort. So even if you don't have a lot of speed and you're more of a long distance runner, develop your speed, work on your form, work on that leg turnover, spend some time training at paces that you know you're only going to hold it for a few seconds to a few minutes. On top of that, focus on the recovery days. Do not run too fast on those easy days. Give yourself, now everybody's different. Some people, I've seen athletes over the years that can do a workout, say on Monday, even maybe 2 anaerobic workouts on a Monday, jog on, or run easy on Tuesday, do another hard workout on Wednesday, and they only really give themselves 24 hours of rest. I always, and all my training programs and running courses on RunDreamAchieve.com, all are set up pretty much on giving the athlete 48 hours of recovery between each hard anaerobic effort. And after every 3rd week, we start the 4th week with a recovery week. That way you're getting the benefits from recovering from your hard anaerobic workouts. You cannot keep pushing the body hard anaerobically and expect a high return on investment. You have to pay attention to the rest period. The rest period is where you're going to get all of your benefits from your hard anaerobic workouts. So to run well, and as I think about these 20-miler tips, to run well over any distance really, whether it's you're training for the 800 meter or you're training for a 20-miler, the critical piece of all of this is recovery. you know, you can only push the body so many times hard anaerobically, and you have to give yourself rest. You have to pay attention to your nutrition as well. Under all my videos, I share nutritiongeeks.com. It's my other website that's based on nutrition and business. Pay attention to your nutrition. What you're taking in, ingesting protein. Make sure you're taking in some protein after those tempo runs and those long runs. Alternate doing a harder long run, followed the following week by an easy recovery jog long run. So again, you're not just pushing hard every single weekend, but again, you're not just running long, slow distance every single weekend. Remember, you're trying to run fast over 32 kilometers. You want to run a faster 20 miler. So whatever distance that you're really focusing on, you have to develop that speed and train well below your goal race pace. But you cannot just push hard every single weekend. But you also have to pay attention to the fundamentals that go into running great over middle to long distance races, and that's paying attention to all of the details that go into running great. So I hope this video on 20 miler training has been helpful. If there's anything I missed or something you need more explanation on, feel free to leave me a comment below. Give me a like if you can. It helps the channel grow and more people to see my videos. I really appreciate the support, and I love hearing from all of you guys and gals out there that are training, you know, either here in the States or around the world. It's great hearing from you all, and definitely continue to leave comments. I love hearing from you, and if there's anything else I can help you all out with, feel free to let me know. So I wish you all the best, and I'll talk to you in the next video.